When the Monkees first toured Australia in 1968, fans were hospitalised for hysteria. Michael Nesmith and Micky Dolenz are the only surviving members of the hit band.
They called the Monkees the Prefab Four, a manufactured band that conquered the world in the 1960s. But in 2019, something shocking happened that exposed the bitter truth behind the smiles and harmonies. The drummer who brought the group to life walked away from what could have been their biggest reunion tour ever, leaving fans devastated and friendships shattered. What could drive a man to abandon his musical brothers after decades of shared history? Micky Dolenz wasn't supposed to be a drummer. Born George Michael Dolenz Jr. in Los Angeles in 1945, he was already a seasoned child actor when he auditioned for a revolutionary new television show in 1965. The producers were looking for 4 young men to play a rock band. Think The Beatles meets sitcom comedy. Dolenz had acted in shows like Circus Boy throughout the 1950s, but music wasn't his primary focus. That all changed when he landed the role of the wild-haired drummer in what would become the Monkees. The show premiered on NBC in September 1966 and became an instant cultural phenomenon. Unlike other bands of the era, the Monkees were created specifically for television, with each member cast to fill a particular role. While critics dismissed them as a manufactured boy band, their popularity was undeniable. The show ran for just 2 seasons, but during that time, the Monkees sold more records than the Beatles and the Rolling Stones combined. What many fans didn't realize was the creative tension brewing behind the scenes from the very beginning. The 4 members, Dolenz, Davy Jones, Peter Tork, and Michael Nesmith, were initially not allowed to play their own instruments on recordings. Session musicians handled the music while the actors performed on screen. This arrangement frustrated the band members, particularly Nesmith, who was already an accomplished songwriter and musician before joining the group. Dolenz, despite having no formal drumming training, threw himself into learning the instrument with remarkable dedication. He practiced relentlessly and developed a distinctive, energetic playing style that became synonymous with the Monkees' sound. As he later recalled, "I had to learn to play drums while we were filming. I'd practice between takes, sometimes with headphones, so I wouldn't disturb the other actors." This determination would define his relationship with the band for decades to come. By 1967, the members had fought for and won the right to play their own instruments and have more creative control over their music. Albums like Headquarters showcased their genuine musical abilities, but the damage to their reputation as fake musicians had already been done. The show was canceled in 1968, and the band officially broke up in 1970, though various reunions and tours would continue sporadically over the following decades. The Monkees' relationship with reunion tours had always been complicated. Throughout the 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s, various combinations of the original members would reunite for anniversary tours and album releases. These reunions were often marked by creative disagreements, financial disputes, and personal tensions that had never fully healed from their original breakup. The most successful reunion occurred in 1986 for the band's 20th anniversary. All 4 original members participated in new recordings and a major tour, though Michael Nesmith left partway through. The tour was a massive commercial success, proving that nostalgia for the Monkees remained strong among fans who had grown up watching the show. However, subsequent reunions became increasingly difficult to organize. Davy Jones's death in 2012 devastated the surviving members and fans alike. Jones had been the group's heartthrob and primary lead vocalist, and his loss left a void that seemed impossible to fill. Peter Tork's death in 2019 further reduced the surviving members to just Dolenz and Nesmith. These losses made any potential reunion both more precious and more complicated. Each remaining member carried the weight of representing their deceased bandmates while dealing with their own aging and evolving perspectives on their shared legacy. In early 2019, excitement rippled through the Monkees fan community when rumors began circulating about a major reunion tour. With only Dolenz and Nesmith remaining, this would likely be the final opportunity for fans to see surviving original members perform together. Concert promoters saw dollar signs, nostalgia tours were big business, and the Monkees still commanded significant ticket sales despite their advanced age. Initial discussions seemed promising. Both Dolenz and Nesmith appeared interested in honoring their fallen bandmates, while giving fans one last chance to experience the Monkees live. However, as planning progressed, fundamental disagreements began to emerge between Dolenz and the tour promoters. The first major dispute centered on the set list. Promoters wanted to focus heavily on the biggest hits, songs like I'm a Believer, Last Train to Clarksville, and Daydream Believer. These were the tracks that would sell tickets and satisfy casual fans expecting a greatest hits experience. Dolenz, however, had different ideas about how to honor the band's legacy. Financial disagreements quickly followed. Questions arose about how royalties would be split, particularly regarding merchandise sales and potential live album releases from the tour. With only 2 surviving members, the traditional 4-way split was no longer applicable. But Dolenz felt the estates of Jones and Tork deserved consideration in any financial arrangements. The breaking point came when Dolenz demanded creative control over the tour's artistic direction. Having spent over 5 decades associated with the Monkees, he had strong opinions about how the band should be presented to audiences. He wanted the freedom to include deeper album cuts, tell stories about his deceased bandmates, and create a more intimate, reflective show that honored the full scope of their musical journey. The promoters, however, were focused on commercial viability. They wanted a streamlined, hit-heavy show that would appeal to the broadest possible audience. As Dolenz later confirmed, I wanted to do something meaningful, something that would truly honor Davy and Peter. But the promoters just wanted us to play the hits and keep it simple. This fundamental disagreement about artistic vision created an irreconcilable conflict. Dolenz had reached a point in his life where financial considerations were secondary to artistic integrity. At 74 years old, he knew this might be his final opportunity to present the Monkees on his own terms. Just weeks before the tour was scheduled to be officially announced, Micky Dolenz made the shocking decision to withdraw completely. The news sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and devastated fans who had been eagerly anticipating the reunion. The fallout was immediate and painful. Michael Nesmith, who had been prepared to participate in the tour, found himself abandoned by his last surviving bandmate. Their friendship, which had weathered decades of ups and downs, faced its most severe test. Industry insiders reported heated phone conversations between the two men as they tried to salvage the situation. Music journalists scrambled to understand what had happened. Initial reports suggested the withdrawal was due to health concerns or scheduling conflicts, but it soon became clear that the real issues ran much deeper. Sources close to the negotiations revealed the extent of the creative and financial disputes that had derailed the reunion. In the months following the canceled reunion, Micky Dolenz channeled his energy into a different kind of legacy preservation. Rather than compromising his artistic vision for a commercial tour, he focused on archival projects that allowed him to present the Monkees' history on his own terms. He began working on comprehensive reissues of the band's catalog, ensuring that lesser-known tracks and alternative versions received proper attention alongside the hits. These releases demonstrated the depth and sophistication of the Monkees' musical evolution beyond their teen heartthrob image. Dolenz also embarked on a series of intimate solo performances where he could tell the complete story of the Monkees, including personal anecdotes about his relationships with Jones, Tork, and Nesmith. These shows proved that his instincts about what fans really wanted were correct. Audiences were hungry for the deeper story, not just the surface-level nostalgia. Meanwhile, the relationship between Dolenz and Nesmith remained strained. The two men who had shared so much history found themselves unable to bridge their differences about how their legacy should be presented. This personal cost of Dolenz's principled stand added another layer of sadness to the story. Today, Micky Dolenz continues to perform and preserve the Monkees' legacy according to his own artistic standards. His archival releases have been critically acclaimed, proving that his vision for how the band should be remembered was sound. While fans may never see the reunion tour they hoped for, Dolenz's commitment to artistic integrity has ensured that the Monkees' story will be told completely and honestly. Thanks for watching. Click here to check another video and make sure to subscribe to our channel.